What's going on, sports fans? It's Wes Pruitt, 4-Star Sports Media. It's Monday. You're inside the sports buffet, and we got another plate full for you. We're going to start with some NASCAR. Interesting weekend out in Phoenix. We talked about it last week about how the starters, first and third position, and we saw the 14% get a win yesterday at Phoenix Raceway. Then we're going to get Coach Keller Sims in the house. Talk a little Arkansas Hockey Club as their season just ended in a very odd way over the weekend. Then after Coach Sims, we're going to talk a little bit of women's basketball and some comments that were made, some things that went on over in Greenville, South Carolina. After that, we'll take a break, come back and talk Arkansas basketball, Arkansas baseball, and then we'll finish up with Tiger Talk, Memphis Tiger baseball, basketball, men's and women's. All that and more today on the Sports Buffet. It's Monday, folks. Let's get into it. All right, guys, let's start with a little NASCAR talk. We had the call811.com every dig, every time 200. Yes, that is the longest name for any NASCAR race, probably ever, that I know of anyway. But was that at Phoenix Raceway, the 1 mile track? Very, very, very interesting race. We would see Chandler Smith end up getting the win on the day. He led 3 times, 88 total laps, got 6 playoff points for the W. Won stage 1, finished 4th in stage 2. Cole Custer would finish 2nd in stage 1 and 1st in stage 2 and finished with a 5th place. Brandon Jones would finish 6th in stage 1, 9th in stage 2 and finish 7th. Jesse Love would finish 2nd on the day. Sheldon Creed would finish 3rd. Austin Hill would finish 4th. If you remember correctly, we talked about those 3 last week being guys to watch in this race because Jesse Love's a rookie. Sheldon Creed's right there with him. Another rookie. Austin Hill's been tearing it up all season. But Chandler Smith, the quick tie Toyota, got the W out in Phoenix. At the end of the day, there was 6 lead changes, 4 different leaders. Number 20, John Hunter Nemechek would lead 4 laps, 1 time. Justin Allgaier would lead 52 laps. Cole Custer would lead 61, and then the eventual winner, who led 3 times on the day, Chandler Smith, would get the win. And then let's jump over to the Shriners Children's 500. Very interesting race. Christopher Bell and the Ream Toyota, if y'all remember, made a post on Facebook just right before the race started, said you need to watch the Toyotas. So far, we had seen a Chevrolet win every race so far throughout this NASCAR 2024 season. And Christopher Bell breaks the streak, gets the win. He finished 1st in stage 2. He led 90 total laps, got himself 6 playoff points for the win. Chris Buescher would finish 2nd. Ty Gibbs would finish 3rd in the Monster Energy Toyota. Brad Keselowski, who is now over 100 winless race streak. I'll say that again. He is now on a over 100 winless race streak in NASCAR, which is crazy. Ryan Blaney would finish fifth. Ross Chastain would finish sixth. Martin Truex Jr., nice run for Martin Truex Jr., would finish seventh. Michael McDowell would finish eighth. Chase Briscoe would finish ninth. Tyler Reddick would round out your top 10. Denny Hamlin, who started first on the day, would finish 11th. And Chase Elliott, who started third, would finish 19th. I mentioned those two for a specific reason because if you went to 4-Star Sports Media's website, 4star.live, there's an article out there now that talks about in this specific race, if you don't, recently anyway, you have the best chance of winning in Phoenix if you finish first or third. And if you don't, 14% is your possibility of winning. Like I said at the onset of the show, Christopher Bell did just that. 14% chance of winning. And to be honest with you, he controlled the race all the way through. Up next, we got Keller Sims, head coach of the Arkansas Hockey Club. Just had an incredible season. Always a lot of fun to talk to Coach Sims. We'll have him on here just momentarily. But a very eventful weekend out in NASCAR. And now, you turn your attention to Bristol. The trucks will be there, of course. They took the week off this week. But now, like I said, you turn your attention to Bristol. Always a fun track. Always wild. It's watching a race in a fishbowl. It's right there on the Tennessee-Virginia line. Bristol, Tennessee is where the track is held. Awesome track. One of my favorite tracks on the NASCAR circuit, for sure. And we're going to have more on it as the week goes. We'll bring you storylines like we do every week. We'll bring you storylines to keep an eye on, racers to watch. If you're a gambling guy, if you're a fantasy NASCAR guy like myself, may give you a few. I don't know if I would put money on them, but tips based on trends, based on statistic numbers. But yeah, NASCAR's cranked up, man. NASCAR is here, and it's always a lot of fun. Let's get the man in here. I don't want him waiting any longer. Let's get Keller Sims in here. Coach Sims, how you doing, Coach? Can you hear me? We got Coach Sims in the house. Keller Sims from the Arkansas Hockey Club, head coach. Team had another very successful season. When you look at the Arkansas Hockey Club, a lot of talent. Goalies played really well. Keller Sims, I know, is a happy man to a certain degree. His team was once again successful. They made nationals. It's not something every team can do. They qualified for their 5th consecutive national tournament. Coach Sims, how you doing? I don't think Keller can hear me. Apologize for the delay. Coach Sims, can you hear me? Hello, Coach. Hey, Coach, can you hear me? I don't think. Can you hear me, Coach?
Yeah, just having some issues.
Ah,
Figured that
okay. Oh,
out.
you're good, man. Just talking about the Razorback Hockey Club. Another great season, qualified for your fifth consecutive national tournament. Got to be pleased with how the season as a whole went.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think at the beginning of the year, nobody really gave us a chance to end up where we did, with however many, we with the talent and the guys we were replacing, 13 freshmen coming into the season. We had ups and downs early, but just continued to grow throughout the year. And I think we put together, a really complete national tournament, going 2-0-1, not advancing on tiebreakers. But I couldn't be more proud of the effort that the boys put into this season, and how much they grew over the course of it.
Coach, you had a very eventful national tournament. You went 2-0, ended up playing the number one team in the nation, ended up tying them 2-2. Now, for the fans out there watching and listening, can you explain to them? Because I had multiple messages going, "What the hell happened?" Can you explain to them why you didn't move on or why there wasn't a continuous play?
Yeah. So the national tournament is four pools. The winner of each pool advances to the semifinals. Most of the time it works out fine where, the winner is a true winner. They're either 2-1 or 3-0, and have a head-to-head over the other team. That is, if you're both 2-1. But there are tiebreakers in case that happens, where both teams end with 2 wins and a tie against each other. The tiebreaker they got us was goal differential. Lawrence Tech had a better goal differential within our pool, with a bigger win over St. Vincent in their first game helped get them there. So ultimately, going into the game, we knew we had to win, whether that was in regulation or within that 10-minute overtime, and they knew they just had to tie to advance. And we had lots of chances. I thought we really controlled the majority of the game and the overtime, and it's a pretty cruddy feeling to go undefeated at nationals, and I'm sitting at home in my kitchen today versus still being there getting ready to play Mizzou.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying at the onset of the show. I mean, when you look at this season, you mentioned it. In reality, quote unquote, you wasn't supposed to be there, but you were there, and not only were you there, but you were making major noise, and you just took the number one team to the brink.
Yep.
And then, I mean, not that you were thinking ahead, but I mean, you had a chance to play Missouri, your rival. I
Right.
mean, everything was lining back up, and then that was a shot to get revenge against Missouri. So when you look at this roster, I mean, we've had guys like Kyle Cruz, Trevor Borlas. We talked to Sam Haynes last year. When you look at these guys, I mean, your thoughts on this season, your last season in the current division that you're in, when you look back on your time in this division as a head coach, what are just a couple of your favorite moments?
Yeah, I think there's quite a few. You know, with those guys that you mentioned, they've been here a long time. I've coached them a long time. It's awesome to see them all step up into the roles they did. I mean, Borles led our team in points. Cruz was a fantastic captain. Kyle Patterson, I think, killed a little bit of every penalty in the national tournament, and was on the ice for no shorthanded goals. We only gave up one in the last game. Sammy, huge between the pipes after Dusenka graduated 2 years ago. Like, you look at all the things the seniors have done. Chris Yantz, Truman Hershey, Brian Romero, all just studs on our back end. It's I think that's one thing I'm proud of, is just to watch the growth of those guys over their course in the program. It's been pretty awesome. as far as like single moments this season, I look back at our second win against GVSU at home, going down and scoring with 30 seconds left in the game, then coming back and winning that in overtime. Our overtime win against Dort in the MACA playoffs, that was a really tough physical team. Was not the game that you would expect in the first round of your conference tournament, and our guys never had any doubt going into that, giving up the 2-1 lead going into overtime that we were going to win that game. And my favorite memory, I think, probably is just walking into the locker room, those locker rooms at the national tournament, knowing that we were a completely different team than we were in August, and that we were a team that could legitimately win a national championship this year. And we got pretty damn close.
It's like you knew what I was going to say next, Coach. You look at the first of this year, and you had, we talked about it. There was some, I guess I'll use the term undisciplined play a little bit higher on the penalties, a little bit of sloppy play, like you said at the very beginning of the year. And then you look at just how this team not only grew as a unit, but how, like you just talked about, Borlas. That guy's so much fun to talk to. He lights a room up every time you talk to him. He's a great guy. But you look at how this team grew, and you look at how this team morphed, and now they're expanding into a different division starting next year. What are your thoughts on, based on what you saw this year, your growth of your roster, your growth of this program? What are your thoughts on it taking a step up and going into a different division starting next year?
Yeah, I think we're going to make some noise. It just kind of depends on our growth within a season again. But JD Duenwald, freshman, led our team in goals at the national tournament. Brendan Kuhn, big goal there in that game against Lawrence Tech. All of our freshmen continue to grow in the right direction all season long. Even our sophomore too, just underclassmen. The undisciplined penalties went away. The buy-in went up. The effort that they put in went up. And so, if those guys can continue their growth and, we can bring in some more, guys to continue to push the pace and push us in the right direction, I don't see any reason why we can't come in and compete within our conference next year and, be in a spot to try and get to regionals. The national tournament selection looks a little bit different at that level, but there's no reason that we can't, find ourselves in that position. Obviously, it's, an uphill battle going up, but I think we have the foundation and the culture in place, and, we add a couple pieces to help us contribute up top, and I think we'll be right there next year, scaring some teams with us as a first-year program at D2.
So when you look at the D2 teams, what are some teams that the fans out there can possibly look forward to seeing this club play?
Yeah, so we'll keep our rivalry with Mizzou in place. They're going to go up as well. So we're going to keep our usual home and home with them. So fans will get to see that game in our home building, and then we'll go up to them as well. The University of Iowa is a powerhouse within our conference. The University of Bradley is consistently a regionals team, as well as Maryville University out of St. Louis. So, those will be some big games for us. We're going to keep our series with D1 Oklahoma. We're actually going to open up the season at home against Oklahoma next year. So that'll be good test for us, going up 2 levels with that competition to kind of get us started. We're going down to Florida next year to play FGCU, which is a nationals caliber D2 team every year. So, we're starting with a really competitive schedule next year. We're going to play Lindenwood, which is at nationals right now, go play in one of their showcases in St. Louis. So, we didn't want to just go up and try and take an easy approach to our non-conference schedule. We're already in a tough conference. And, my thought process is we need to see where we're at and we need to play the best teams, to be the best. And I think this season shows that we had a very competitive schedule. I mean, yes, we lost the most games that I think I've lost in a regular season, but I think you see what that does for you with being prepared for the quality of play that you're going to run into in the postseason. And so there'll be some different names and hopefully some new rivalries that come up, but we'll still have the usual suspects on the board, with a series with Mo State and Mizzou, and hopefully a couple new rivalries that come together at D2.
You always break news on our show. Every time you come on, you break some kind of news. So you're starting with Oklahoma next year. That is a massive opener for this Arkansas Hockey Club. And speaking of Florida Gulf Coast, you played them this year, so you've got some more familiarity with them, and that's a physical team. But so is Arkansas, and I think that's one thing that I, I, I mean, I don't know how physical you are, Coach. I mean, but you kind of take the identity of your coach. Now, I've never seen you on the ice, but I feel like physicality is something that you are very, very high on.
Yeah, I think it's a challenge that I give our team every season is to be hard to play against. And, that doesn't mean, yes, we want to be physical. We want to be in someone's face. We want to take away their time and space. But, even our players that aren't physical, doesn't mean you have to go out and lay a huge hit. But you need to be hard to play against. You need to get in someone's face. You need to put the pressure on them to force them to make a mistake. You need to take pride in winning a battle along the walls or in front of the net, because that's where games are won. You got to want to block shots. It hurts sometimes, but that's what you have to do for your team. That's what you have to do to win. And that was very much myself as a player. I liked going to the front of the net and battling. I liked getting the puck in deep and going to the corners and trying to create some chaos. I wasn't a flashy player, and so I think that's a challenge that we give our team, and that's why we've been so successful. When you see us on your schedule, it's going to be a battle for 60 minutes, and that was a challenge that we had to embrace this season, especially with the loss of the goals that we lost from last year, over 100. I think that was key for us. And yeah, it helps you get engaged in the game. It wears teams down. And I think, even going up the next level, the speed of the game goes up, but I don't think we need to lose any of that intensity or toughness to sacrifice for skill.
No doubt. And then you've definitely got the home ice advantage there in the Jones Center. I think every single player I've talked to, both on and off camera, talks about how much that is rare at this level. To really have a huge home ice advantage. And I know you'll be taking advantage of that next season. Coach Keller Sims has joined us, head coach of the Arkansas Hockey Club. Incredible season, fifth straight nationals. And to quote you, Coach, you were damn close to getting a national title. Coach Sims, we thank you very much for your time today. We look forward to having you back on again before the season starts, just to preview everything. But we thank you for your time and availability, especially over at the Ice Hogs podcast that covers you guys specifically.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Appreciate your coverage of our team and all the fan support that we have, and looking forward to prepping into next season.
All right, there you got right there, Keller Sims, head coach of the Arkansas Hockey Club, with another stellar interview as always. Every time we have him on, he does an incredible job. The Arkansas Hockey Club is one that if you live in the Fayetteville, Springdale, whatever area, you really got to go check them out. You really do. You're doing yourself a disservice. That Jones Center is jumping when the hockey club is at home. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to jump into some women's basketball that was a fight for the championship. It's Sports Buffet Monday. Beautiful day here in Northwest Arkansas. Hope you're having a great day as well. Welcome back, guys. It's a sports buffet. Beautiful day in Northwest Arkansas. The SEC tournament just went down. We saw the championship take place yesterday. We saw something that I don't think I've seen it in years. Um, we saw physicality. We got Dasha Robinson going to be coming on tomorrow, by the way. Daisha Robinson, I'm sorry, said the name wrong. Coming on tomorrow, or Thursday, sorry. Coming on, Wednesday. She'll be on Wednesday with us around this time to talk SEC. She was there. She was on the sidelines taking in the action, literally. Tyler Butler was also there. Both of them are with Sports and Culture Media. They do a great job. I want to get them on and get their take on what happened. But we saw South Carolina get the championship done. Eighth SEC title for South Carolina. Malaysia for Wiley would score a career high 24 points as the Gamecocks would sneak past LSU, who had four double-digit scores, by the way. 79-72 win. It earns them their 20th, South Carolina, earns South Carolina their 20th NCAA tournament appearance, 12th straight, and it's seeking their third national championship. They have a 44-17 record in the NCAA tournament and have reached the Final Four each of the past three seasons. They did lose in the national semifinals in 2021 and 2023. Elijah Johnson would score 13 points. Haley Van Lith would score 14 with two triples. LSU, like I said, had four double-digit scores, led by Anisha Morrow's 19, 10 rebound double-double. Angel Reese was key. 15 points, 13 rebounds. LSU would turn the ball over 13 times in the first half. South Carolina would capitalize with 16 points off that in the first half. With 1:38 on the clock, 57-51 was your score, with LSU fans definitely getting back in the game. With 2:08 left to play, we would have an incident. You can call it a scuffle. You can call it a whatever you want to call it. But we would have players get ejected. We would have people's brothers running on the floor. Quajay Johnson, brother coming on the floor. He would make it over the scores table. Stepdad tried to come on the court. From what I've talked to people that were there, they said that was key boss very fast. They immediately put a stop to that, as they should. But it doesn't make any sense to me. Why? What's the point? What's the point in all that? My question is simple. Why? Why run over and shove the girl to the ground? Doesn't make any sense to me, for sure. But what an SEC tournament. Now we got the men starting up this week. We'll get to that here in a little bit when we talk Arkansas basketball. But I mean, what a tournament. South Carolina almost wasn't even there. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that South Carolina almost didn't even make it to the championship. Because Tennessee had them up by 2. They had them. That was the second 3-point shot attempt for her. That's why Tennessee didn't jump out there and everybody's online. Well, why did they step out and block? Put hand up, hand down, man down. I get it. I know all that. But what an SEC tournament out in Greenville, South Carolina. What a tournament. And you got to give South Carolina credit. They did it. Was it easy? No. You watched 2 of the best. Don Staley for the Gamecocks. Kim Mulkey for the LSU Tigers. Now, you can have your opinion on what Mulkey said after the game. I think Don Staley's approach was much more professional, to be honest with you. Mulkey's always been like that. She's always been like that. I mean, let's not forget, people. These coaches also have an ego too. Let's not forget that. As big of the ego of the players, and I know everybody's going to be like, well, especially now with NIL. Yeah. But let's not forget, these coaches have just as big, if not more, of an ego. Most definitely. But it was a wild tournament. Very wild tournament. And a lot of fun. A whole lot of fun. This show is rolling by today. It's Monday, March the 11th, 2024 edition of the Sports Buffet. Right here on 4-Star Sports Media. We thank you to everybody watching and listening right now over on X and over on the YouTube channel. We appreciate you as always. We enjoy bringing you this daily sports talk. Jam-packed week right here on the Sports Buffet. Got Dan Ellington coming on tomorrow. Jonathan Sturgeon will be back tomorrow. Talk a little prep. Wednesday, we got Dave Shamati coming on. Friday, Katie Pate is back. We'll get an update from Katie. See where she's at, what she's up to now. Very excited to have her on this show. Fun stuff. Fun stuff here on the Sports Buffet. What a tournament in South Carolina. We thank Keller Sims for coming on as well. And talking Arkansas hockey. a program that many people need to pay attention to because they are very talented. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into some college talk, college baseball, college basketball. We'll talk Arkansas Razorbacks. We'll talk Memphis Tigers. Right here on the Sports Buffet, Monday edition. Beautiful day. Get outside, folks. Get that vitamin D from that sun. Get it in your pores. It's Sports Buffet. We'll be back. Right here on the 4-Star Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Sports Buffet. It's time to talk a little Arkansas Razorback baseball. The Razorbacks are now 13-2 on the season. Won 9 straight. Say that again, won 9 straight. This team's 13-2. Impressive weekend over McNeese State. We had a little rain in the area Friday, so they made a doubleheader on Saturday. Arkansas will win the first game 1 of the doubleheader 3-1. They would win the second game 11-1 in 8 innings. And they would get the brooms out yesterday and sweep off the porch with McNeese State with an 18-5 smacking of the Cowboys in 7 innings. With the series win against McNeese, Arkansas has now clinched its 30th non-conference home weekend series, and they have not lost or tied a non-conference regular series weekend at Baum-Walker since dropping 2 out of 3 to South Alabama back in 2014. We'll get to their upcoming schedule here momentarily, but I want to look at a freshman that was dominant over the weekend. Gabe Gakel, true freshman, by the way, was dominant in relief for the Razorbacks. He went perfect 4-0 during the week. Recorded a pair of multi-inning saves, totaling 4.2 innings, 1 run ball, 4 strikeouts over his 2 appearances. He would also get his first save of the week against UCA back on the 5th for that midweek win. California native secured his second save of the week in the first game of Saturday, the doubleheader against McNeese, when he threw 2 scoreless innings and had 3 strikeouts during that time. This doesn't include the starters of Hagen Smith, Brady Tigert, Mason Molina. Like we talked to Jason about Friday. Then you throw in Will McIntyre, you throw in Gabe. I mean, you're on 2 hands now as far as counting pitchers that can come in and control games for this baseball team. Now, I understand everybody wants to say, oh, well, the runs really haven't come. Well, McNeese State's a good baseball team, and you scored 11 in the second game Saturday, and you turned around and scored 18 yesterday. Currently, they're 11-1 at home. Like I said, 2-1 on the road. Jared Sprague-Lott leads the team with a 381 batting average. He's got scored 13 runs, got 16 hits on the season. Ben McLaughlin's got 20 hits to lead the team right now. Couple guys have got a couple of dingers. Jason Jones leads the team with 3. Aloy has got 2. Kendall Diggs has 2. Lott's got 1. McLaughlin's got 1. Souza has 1. Wilsmeyer, who I really like this kid, came over from Missouri. Talented baseball player. Made an amazing catch earlier in the year. He's got 1. Hudson White's got 1. Kendall Diggs leads with doubles with 6. Ben McLaughlin and Hudson White are tied for second with 5. Lott has 4. Aloy has 2. There's a few guys that have 1. When you look at the RBIs, McLaughlin's got 15. Aloy has got 14. Jason Jones with 13. And then pitching for this team is just nasty. And that's not even the word. It's not even the right word to describe this team. Brady Tigert. Everybody talks about, don't get me wrong, Hagen Smith is having an amazing year. Don't get it twisted. I'm not taking anything away from that incredible young man. Brady Tiger's got a .90 ERA right now. He's thrown 20 innings, giving up 11 hits, 2 runs. He's got 7 walks, 28 strikeouts. Giving up 1 long ball. He's got an opposing batting average of .169. Talk about Hagen Smith, 2.12 ERA, 2-0 on the year. 4 appearances, 17 innings, giving up 6 hits, 4 runs, got 40 strikeouts, 7 walks, giving up 2 long balls. And he has an opposing batting average of .107. The highest ERA in the whole team is Mason Molina with 3 of the starters, the top guys, 3.57. Parker Cole has got an 11. When you look at Brady Tigert, Hagen Smith, Cody Frank's another one you got to look out for. Colin Fisher, big fish, big tuna. That big boy, 1.59 ERA, 3-1 on the season. 11 innings worked, giving up 9 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 15 Ks, .214 batting average, against batting average. It's impressive to see. It's very impressive to see what this team can do. Now, they left 116 on base. They've turned 6 double plays on the year. Their opponents have turned 19. Their opponents have left 105 runners on base. So, of course, there's things that Dave Van Horn and his staff are going to work on, obviously. They're not perfect. left on base. I think it's something that you look at Arkansas in some games, and it that kind of rears its ugly head at times. But man, they are flat on a tear right now. 9 straight wins for this baseball team. And they play tomorrow over on SEC Network, 6 p.m. first pitch, 6:05, sorry. 6 p.m. first pitch, yeah, against Oral Roberts, baseball team that everyone knows who they are now. They made a hell of a run last year out in Omaha. Got some local talent. A couple kids out of Springdale area, Harbor School, high school there. Oral Roberts is going to be a challenge. And we'll have more on this coming up this week over at 4star.live. As we get into SEC play, it's time to utilize some statistics from Zane Ennis and give you the DVH effect on the SEC since he's been in Arkansas. We'll start with Missouri, as Missouri comes to town Friday. Got a Friday, Saturday, Sunday 3-game series. Friday first pitch is at 6:30 p.m. over on SEC Network Plus. All these are on SEC Network Plus, by the way. But Missouri comes to town to crank up SEC play, battle line rivalry, as it's known. We at 4Star are very familiar with the head coach of Missouri, Kerry Jackson, former Memphis Tiger coach. It's going to be very interesting to see how this Missouri team plays this year in a very challenging SEC. But we'll dive into Missouri against DVH since he's been here, since they've been in the conference, which is, I understand, not all that long. And then we'll also dive into some teams that have had some success against Dave. And there's a couple. And we'll look into some teams that have not. And that list is a little bit longer. But a very, very interesting week as season number 2 starts. And that is the SEC slate of games for this Arkansas baseball team. And speaking of a second season, as we know, in men's basketball, you've got the regular season, and then you've got tournament time. Well, with it being March, we obviously know March Madness, it's tournament time. Here we are. And it's time because Arkansas currently basketball comes in ranked 15, the record of 15-16, 6-12 in conference play. By far the worst record we've seen Musselman have so far in his tenure at Arkansas. Very interesting. Because Arkansas's got a tough path. Very tough path. They would fall to Alabama in overtime over the weekend. 92-88. After a big LSU win, great fight against Kentucky. They won 3 out of their last 5 games. Beat Texas A&M, beat Mizzou. Shouldn't have lost to Vanderbilt, but did by 3, 85-82. Like I said, hell of a game against Kentucky. A lot of fight in that game. Beat LSU, and then drop a tough one on the road to Alabama. On this run of games, Khalif Battle has been going off. He's been the highest scorer. He's been leading Arkansas in points for the last 5 games. He had 22 points, 7 rebounds against Alabama. And now they start conference tournament play, I should say. Sorry. This SEC men's tournament cranks up in Nashville. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. But you've got it starting Wednesday. We'll have more on it this week as we go. Cranks up Wednesday as Arkansas will take on Vanderbilt. Team we just talked about, Arkansas shouldn't have lost to just a few weeks back, 85-82. Arkansas plays Wednesday, 6 p.m. They're on SEC Network against Vanderbilt to start the tournament. Missouri and Georgia will follow that game roughly half hour after the Arkansas-Vanderbilt game. But when you look at the road to keep dancing, the road to dance, period, for Arkansas, the road's not easy. You got to beat Vanderbilt, which is not guaranteed, as we saw recently. And I mean, they've lost to Vanderbilt 3 straight times in a row now. First time ever in school history that Arkansas basketball has done that. 6 p.m., Arkansas is number 12th, ranked 12th. But say you get past Vanderbilt on night 1, then you got to come back night 2 and take on a South Carolina team. It's ranked 5th in the conference. Day 2, you'll have Mississippi State. You have the 8-9 game, Mississippi State 9, LSU 8. Winner of that game plays Tennessee Friday, number 1 team. The winner between Vanderbilt, Arkansas will end up playing South Carolina. Winner of that game will play Friday against number 4 Auburn. And you've got 10-7 matchup. Number 10 Ole Miss taking on the number 7 Texas A&M Aggies. Winner of that gets Kentucky Friday, 6 p.m., SEC Network. And the winner of Georgia, Missouri will take on Florida. Roughly 25 minutes after the A&M Ole Miss game. Winner of that gets 3 seed Alabama for the late game Friday night. Top 4 seeds, like I said, Tennessee number 1, Kentucky number 2, Alabama number 3, Auburn number 4. Those guys get to kick back. I say kick back. They're going to be watching. Kick back because they don't play. They get the double bye. It's been a long time since Arkansas basketball has played on day 1 of the SEC tournament. Just off the top of my head, I can tell you it's been a long time. Without digging and finding actually how long it's been. It's going to be a tough road. You got to get past Vanderbilt. You got to get past South Carolina. Then you get past Auburn. Well, then you got to play Tennessee, number 1 team, just for a chance to get to the championship. I don't know if Arkansas can run up, no pun intended. I don't know if they can run up this tournament enough. I don't know. They've got the talent. Tremont Mark leads the team right now, 16.7 points a game. Khalif Battle is second with 14.3. Arkansas's got to shoot the basketball better. They're averaging 77 points a game. Their opponent's averaging 79. On average, Arkansas is shooting about 45% from the field, 31% from three. They make about 6 a game. They give up about 7. 75% from the line. Arkansas has about 34 rebounds a game. 361 assists, 371 turnovers on the season. That comes out to about 12 turnovers a game. Assist to turnover ratio is 1. Blocks per game, Arkansas comes in at 6. Steals, they come in at 6. Look at Arkansas by halves scoring this year. 1,093 points in the first. Their opponents have scored 1,094. Second half, Arkansas scored 1,285, while their opponents have scored 1,341. Overtime number 1, Arkansas scored 21, while their opponents have scored 25. OT number 2, when that's happened, Arkansas has scored 11. Their opponents have scored 8. The road to dance for Arkansas is long. It's windy. It's got a lot of bumps in it. And it's got some teams in it that I just don't think Arkansas is going to get past. Do I think they can get past Vanderbilt? Yes. Just like I just said, Vanderbilt's won 3 consecutive times against Arkansas. That's a trend, folks. That's a trend. Can they do it again? I don't know. But Wednesday at 6 p.m. It's going to be we just talked about it. It was a wild SEC tournament for the women out in Greenville, South Carolina. I think it's going to be a wild one here in Nashville as well. Starts Wednesday and Sunday. Of course, we are on the cusp of Selection Sunday, which is this coming up Sunday, the 17th. Specifically looking at Arkansas right now in the SEC tournament, right here on the Sports Buffet, presented to you by 4-Star Sports Media. Beautiful day here in Northwest Arkansas, here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We are having a great day. Hope you are as well. Thank you for watching and listening right now on the social medias. We're live on X, Twitter, and we're also live on YouTube. Shoot some comments to me. I'd love to get some reactions from what we're talking about right now. And we've talked about before. We started off with a little NASCAR. Then brought Keller Sims in, talked Arkansas Arkansas hockey. Talked about a wild SEC women's tournament, and now we're into what I think is going to be a very wild men's tournament. We'll get more into it as the week goes, but I think when you look at sleepers per se, I don't think you can sleep on South Carolina, and I don't think anyone is. We saw earlier in the year what that team can do. Another team is Mississippi State. When you look at the Bulldogs, number 9, got to play LSU day 2, first game of the day. It'll be at noon tomorrow. But this team, full of talent. Josh Hubbard, freshman, Memphis, Tennessee area. 5-time SEC Freshman of the Year this season. They got LSU. Very winnable game for Mississippi State. And then they'll have to take on Tennessee. We know Tennessee's beatable. Hasn't happened a lot, but it's happened. And I know that's not that's not Starkville, Mississippi, the Bridgestone Arena there in Nashville. But Mississippi State has pulled some upsets this year. We've seen, you go back and look at their game against Kentucky recently. That was a barn burn. Arkansas basketball has got a chance to do something, like I said, I don't think they've done in a long time. But for all these fans out there that think these things are rigged, it's not rigged. The conference is not sitting down, not just the SEC. This is nationwide. No conference is going to sit down with their officials and be like, whenever Team X plays, we're going to make sure we screw them over. It's just not it. It's not how it works. If that's the case, there would be lawsuits everywhere. How many lawsuits have we seen filed? Seen Tennessee file one, that was because of the NIL. Haven't seen anyone file it for a dirty officiating crew. And while we're on it, talking about things being rigged, I honestly don't believe that the, quote, Italian mob went to a Vanderbilt quarterback to tell him that Alabama's games are rigged. Not any other team. No. Just Alabama. That's it. That's all we're going to rig. We each want to rig Alabama. That's it. We really believe this? We're really sitting here believing that the Italian mob approached a Vanderbilt backup quarterback, for that matter. It's crazy. We got some comments in here. Jonathan Sturdivant said, is Arkansas even going to be in the NIT? I don't think so. They're 15 and 16 right now. I don't think they're in. Not a team we're talking about here just a little bit. Possibly. I'm sorry. Hubbard is from the Jackson area. I apologize for the wrong area. But Hubbard has been a major talent for this Mississippi State basketball team all year, coached by Chris Jans. This is Musselman's worst overall record season since he's been there. He's now in year 5. He went 20 and 12 year 1, 7 and 11 in conference play, 25 and 7 in year 2. We know what they've done the last 3 years. They went to 3 straight Elite Eights. Last year, 22 and 14, 8 and 10 in conference play. So the last 2 seasons, he's been under 500 in the SEC. And 3 out of the 5 years, he's been under 500 in the SEC. That tells you what kind of talent is in the SEC. We're going to have Dave Shamati on Wednesday to talk more about this tournament. Dave does a great job over at Mach 10 Sports, covering the SEC. Speaking of the Arkansas Razorbacks, if you guys want to tune in Thursday, right here at 4-Star Sports Media, you can listen to the Hogs Happy Hour. Blake and Ashton do an incredible job weekly putting this show on. They dive into it. They give you the nuts and bolts. Dave's been a guest on their show numerous times as well. Very interested to see what their thoughts are on this Arkansas basketball team and the baseball team, but for sure the basketball team. It's going to be very interesting. Like I said, all cranks up Wednesday when Arkansas plays game one. Lo and behold, against Vanderbilt. Now we're going to shift gears over to the American Athletic Conference that gets kicked off Wednesday as well. This will be a recurring segment the rest of the week. And then next week on Monday, we'll dive into it, and then we'll really dive into the NCAA tournament, regions, all of that. But it cranks up Wednesday as number 13 Rice takes on number 12 Wichita State. By the way, this tournament is taking place in Fort Worth, as the tournament has for last few seasons. 2 games Wednesday. Bottom 4 teams. Number 13 Rice takes on number 12 Wichita State. Number 14 UTSA takes on the Temple Owls, ranked number 13 or number 11. I'm sorry. Second round action Thursday. Number 9 Tulsa takes on number 8 East Carolina. Number 5 Memphis will await the winner of Rice and Wichita State. Then Tulane, North Texas will battle. And then SMU, 6th ranked team in the conference, will await the winner of UTSA and Temple. Top 4 teams get the double bye. Top 4 teams are, stand by, South Florida, Florida Atlantic, Charlotte, and UAB. Now let's just be honest, people. When the American Athletic Conference started the season, who had these 4 teams as their top 4? You may have had Florida Atlantic in there. I don't see Charlotte. I don't see UAB. I don't see South Florida for sure. Very interesting. And then there's Memphis. Sitting there in the 5th spot. As I said, the Tigers will play the winner of Wichita State Rice. They're in the Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. When you look at the Tigers on the season against Wichita State, they won both games, winning 112-86 in Wichita, which was a brutally cold, icy conditions game outside. That was back in January. And they won 65-63 in Memphis on February 3rd. Now, the Rice Owls, that's a different story. Rice came in and won 74-71 at FedEx Forum just a few weeks ago on the 31st of January. I don't know. First off, I don't know how Memphis loses to Rice. I don't see it. I was on with Memphis Spence a couple weeks back. We were talking Memphis basketball, and he made the comment, you can't lose at the carbohydrate. He's referring to Rice. He says carbohydrate, by the way. Well, they did, and it wasn't pretty. But this Memphis basketball team has got a lot to figure out. I don't know what the deal is with them this year. I wish I knew, to be completely honest with you. But I don't. And neither does anyone else, for that matter. The only person that really does is Penny. And I think Penny knows. I think Penny understands what the issue is. Do I know what the issue is? No. Like I just said. But Tomlin's been going off. But like I said, in the Florida Atlanta game yesterday, first off, if Memphis did not, if any Memphis fan was blown away that Florida Atlantic went to the big man, Golden down low, I don't know what you were thinking. I don't know why you didn't just automatically assume they were going to do that, considering Memphis was down the big man, Malcolm Dandridge. That's a whole other story for a whole other day. We still don't know what's going on there. We have our assumptions, but we're not going to speak on those. I don't have a fuzzy feeling about this year's tournament. And in order to Memphis to go to the NCAA tournament, they've got to win the conference tournament. Defending champions. This team's had a target on their back all year long. But FAU's not a poverty school. Rice is not a poverty school. Anybody that follows me on social media, you saw my post on that. I think there's a lot of Memphis fans that need to grow up. Calling people poverty schools is not cool. Especially when you turn around and lose to them and then you're quiet as a mouse. If you could hit send on the poverty school, then hit send on whatever you're going to say after the loss. But I understand that's not how fan bases of not just Memphis, around the nation work. I get it. But it makes the school look bad. Just so you're aware. You look at the Tigers on the season, they're averaging 81 points a game. Their opponents are averaging roughly 75. Shooting of 46% from the field. Make around 28 field goals a game. 3-point. Shooting 35% on the season. Make about 8. Opponents get about 9 a game. They're shooting 34%. 72% from the free throw stripe. About 18 a game. Rebounding, Memphis has about 37 rebounds a game. Opponents have about 36. Assists per game. Tigers have around 13. They've got 424 for the season. We've also got 13 turnovers a game. It's exactly a 1 assist turnover ratio. Steals, Tigers average about 8.5 a game. Blocks, they average about 4. The Tigers have averaged roughly 12,000 fans at their 15 home games. Roughly, the attendance is 12,276. When you look at the Tigers right now, Tomlin is shooting 60% from the field on the season. 40% from 3. David Jones is shooting 46% from the field, 37% from 3. Just talked about Javon Quinterly, 41% from the field, 35% from deep. Against FAU, we would see Quinterly have a no-point first half, come back with great performance in the second half. If you listen to the Tiger Talk on the Point Podcast, Tiger's Den, if you've listened this season, you've heard me continuously say the same thing. You're going to need to rely on more than one or two guys. Yes, David Jones is an incredible scorer. Javon Quinley is too. Now Tomlin steps in. Caleb Mills going down hurt this team. But you need someone else to just come through with a few points. And down low is going to be a target for every team we play. We being Memphis. Every team the Tigers play, that is going to be target number one is down low. With Dandridge out, you've got Nicholas Jordan, Jordan Brown. You can throw a couple of the Hardaways down there. I mean, Penny's going to throw whatever. But no matter who we play, being Memphis, no matter who the Tigers play, whether that's Rice in what would be a major revenge game, or Wichita State in what the Tigers can't let turn into a trap game, either team they play, they're going to have to be ready to get pounded in the paint. The Tigers couldn't stop Golden. He did whatever he wanted. He's a skilled basketball player, very talented basketball player. Same thing he did in the first game against Memphis, in Memphis. As I said earlier, anybody who was shocked that they were going after Memphis in the paint, I don't know what you're missing. Sorry, I just don't. Tigers play Thursday. The American Athletic Conference tournament is getting ready to tip off, as they all are. Big 12, ACC. We talked about the SEC. We'll talk a little bit of ACC and a little bit of Big 12 later on as well in the week. But very interesting tournament. Memphis could be a sleeper. Memphis could very well be a sleeper if they play to their full potential. And if they have more than Javon Quinterly and David Jones score points. You can't rely on one or two guys every game to win you the game. Because eventually, like we saw against Florida Atlantic, one of those guys is going to be off. And when they're off, it's going to hurt you. And it did. 0 points in the first half for Quinlan. I saw preposterous fans be like, oh, he threw the game. Miss me with that. More of the rigged stuff I was talking about earlier. We're not throwing games. It's stupid. Now, is there something going on with Malcolm Dane? Yeah, evidently. He's not on the court. There's a reason. He's not on the court. That's multi-layered. It's got to be. It's got to be multi-layered. And hopefully we'll find out in the next year what happened there. But for now, it's a big hole for this Memphis basketball team down low. You're inside the Sports Buffet Monday, March 11th, 2024 edition. I hope it's a beautiful day where you are. It is a immaculate day where I am. It's been a great day. Beautiful outside. Been a little busy today, but it's all good. So far, we've had a great show. If you missed it, talked a little NASCAR, took some laps around Phoenix Raceway as we recapped the Xfinity Series race, which was the longest race name ever, and the NASCAR Cup Series race, which was not a long name. Two really good races out there. Saw some statistical trends kind of be reversed in a sense. Then we had Coach Keller Sims on, talk Arkansas hockey. Keller's always great. That team's so much fun. Like I said after we had him on, if you live in the Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers area of Arkansas and you don't get over to the Jones Center to watch that basketball team play, that hockey team play, you're doing yourself a disservice. They are the Arkansas Hockey Club, technically not a member of the Arkansas Athletics. They do use the Hog, so they do have rights from the university to use that. But very talented team, and they're, like Keller said, they open the season next year with Oklahoma at home. And secondly, I don't know if anyone caught it, but he said that Missouri was also going to move up with them. So Missouri and Arkansas will continue to play hockey. Then we got into a wild SEC women's tournament. Just got through talking Arkansas baseball, Arkansas basketball as they get ready to start the SEC tournament. And we just dove into the American Athletic Conference and the road to a title for Memphis. Now, if you look at Memphis, they're on the quote-unquote better side of the bracket. You get Charlotte, which is much better. And now we're going to jump over to Tiger Baseball. Memphis Tiger Baseball, first-year head coach Matt Reiser. You guys know that we keep it honest here at 4-Star Sports Media. We tell it like it is. And he came into a cupboard that was pretty damn bare. Former coaches we talked about earlier, Kerry Jackson, he'll be in Fayetteville this weekend with Missouri. There wasn't much left on the roster. Coach Reiser, had to come in, re-recruit his own roster that was left, and then turn around and get out and build a roster for this season. I think he's done an incredible job of that. A lot of people look at the record of Memphis baseball, which is 7-10, 6-6 at home, 1-4 on the road. They just hosted the Bluff City Classic over the weekend, the round robin style tournament. The Tigers would face Butler, Presbyterian, and Jackson State, and they would drop all three games. Jackson State game went down to the wire, 6-4 extra inning loss. This baseball team is going to be okay. All these fans that are like, "Oh, we lost another one to a team that's terrible." You understand how baseball works, right? Like, you can score 18 one game and then score 2 the next. Now, After the game, Matt Reiser would have this to say. Quote, at some point in time, we have to pick ourselves up. Nobody's going to feel sorry for us or make excuses for us. At the end of the day, it's up to us to dig out. The good news is we have games coming up to prove ourselves different. But we have to get collectively back together as a team. We post his post games every game. If you listen to him, you listen to his voice and how he's speaking about this team, this team could easily be 10-7, 11-6 right now. That record could easily be flipped. Don't believe me? Go back and look at their schedule. If you don't believe me, watch them. That's how you can tell. Austin Baskin been tearing it up. Devontae Stewart, he's got a 309 batting average right now. Leads the team with 21 hits on the season. Austin Baskin and Pierre Seals are right behind him with 20. First baseman Jacob Compton got 18 hits. Speaking of Compton, he leads the American right now with 8 long balls, also leads the team. He's got 17 RBIs, leads the team. He's slugging .667 right now. But there's talent all up and down the line of this Memphis baseball team. And like I just said, if you really go back and watch this team, watch how this team plays, watch how this team performs, that record could easily be 11-6. And if it's 11-6, this conversation has a different tone to it. If they're 11-6, the fans that really don't even watch the team, they just see the final score. But maybe even those fans will be like, hey, this team's pretty good. They are good. It's Division I college baseball. Let's not forget that. No offense, but this is not NAIA, D2, D3. This is Division I baseball in a conference in the American that's packed with talent. Packed with talent. Don't believe me? Check and see where Matt Reiser came from. Team we play every year. It's a team that we've played for years in baseball. A team that for a while was a perennial regional, even super regional team. They've been to Omaha. I'm talking about the Tulane Green Wave. You go look at East Carolina, they're talented. The pitching is just gotta get there. It's early. They've played 16 games. $17 games. Still. 7-10 right now. Tigers are back tomorrow night, 6 p.m. North Alabama, who's 8-6, comes to town for the first of 2 midweek games at home before they hit the road this weekend for a 3-game series down in New Orleans as they take on the University of New Orleans. As I mentioned, it's a 2-game midweek. So you've got number 1 tomorrow night at home, North Alabama. The following night, you got Arkansas State making that short, roughly 90-mile trip from Jonesboro over to Memphis to take on this Tigers baseball team. If anyone's listening and they find themselves just looking at the score, and I understand not all their games are on TV. I get that. If you listen to Matt Reiser, he's made a couple of times the comment of, "I'd rather not play on TV because we seem to play better." And sometimes they do. It's early, 17 games in the year. They're gonna get it right. They're gonna get it fixed. Matt Reiser's too good of a baseball coach not to, and it's just year one. And I don't mean this. I'm not trying to take a shot at anyone when I say this, but I think he's going to stick around a little bit more than the other one did. I think he's going to hang out in Memphis a little bit longer than the previous coach. He's a family man. His players are his family, and you can see that. He makes that very evident on all of his social media as well. He doesn't shy away from a lot of topics that others may. I like that about a coach, no matter what sport it is. But the Memphis baseball team, 7-10, like I said on the season, they got 2 big games before they hit the road this week. You got to take care of the business in these 2 games. No question. You've got to take care of business against North Alabama tomorrow night. And then you got a very pesky Arkansas State baseball team coming in the next night. Tigers can come out of this week with 4 wins. Changes a lot. Got to get that mo back on you. You know what I mean? Get that mo on your back. That mojo. Get it back. That's what Matt Reiser just said. I just read the quote from him in postgame yesterday. You got to get back to, quote, playing collectively as a team. Caden Robinson would pitch 5 innings yesterday, give up 4 hits, 3 runs, 4 Ks, and 2 walks. Reiser would say this on Robinson's appearance. I thought Caden pitched his way through some tough situations, Reiser would say. Quote, we didn't make a lot of plays behind him, but he handled it well, and he kept us in the game. The pitching component was there for us pretty much all weekend. It was a lack of defense and offensive production for us this weekend. And he's right. You got to put points on the board. You can't win. You're not going to win baseball games winning scoring 4 runs. You need to score 7, 8. You score 8, 9 runs a game, you're going to win a lot of baseball games. But to Reiser's point, the defense has got to perform better behind the pitching. The pitching is not bad. The bullpen, it'll get there. But like I said, these fans that just see the score, don't even know who's on the team, barely know who the new coach is, and they want to get on social media and just bash the team. It makes no sense to me. Tell me you don't watch the team without telling me you don't watch the team. That's what you're doing. Got a big time show tomorrow lined up. Dan Ellington will be on with us at noon. John Sturtevant will be on as well. talk some prep. Got state tournament going on. You got Mr. Basketball Award being announced as well for the state of Tennessee. Like I said, you got SEC tournament going up in Nashville too. A lot of activity up around the capital of Tennessee this week. You've been inside the sports buffet for the last roughly 2 hours. I appreciate everybody watching and listening today, and we'll be back tomorrow. Planning on going pretty much noon to 2 all week. Maybe a little variation here and there later in the week. Not much. In case you missed it, like I said, we talked a little NASCAR to begin. We brought Keller Sims, head coach of the Arkansas Hockey Club, in to talk Arkansas hockey. They just finished up an incredible season, and we got some breaking news in that interview as well. We took a little trip up to out to Greenville, South Carolina, dove into a fight, literally, for the SEC Women's Championship. Took a break, came back, talked Arkansas hoops, Arkansas baseball, and now we're just closing up with a little Memphis talk as we talk Tigers basketball, Tigers baseball. Also, the Tigers women's team would finish the season yesterday in the American Athletic Conference second round, a nail-biter against East Carolina. If you missed it, you can head over to 4star.live. We've got an article out now on them, as well as our postgame. Postgame quotes are out from Coach Alex Simmons and guard Madison Griggs. Madison, incredible player. And her answer about having the name Memphis on the front of her jersey for her entire career really speaks a lot about who Madison is. But it's been a lot of fun today, guys, and I look forward to being back tomorrow. You've had a plate full of sports, variety of topics as always. That's why we call it the sports buffet. You can come and kind of nibble on numerous different things as we dive into numerous sports. We got MLB season cranking up too. We got Northwest Arkansas Naturals right around the corner. Let's not forget about them. As the AA team for the Kansas City Royals will be cranking it up here shortly. March 25th, the Kansas City Royals will be in town to take on the Northwest Arkansas Naturals. A lot of talent in that Royals organization. That's going to do it for today. We thank everybody watching and listening and commenting as always. We'll be back tomorrow right here on the Sports Buffet on the 4 Star Sports Radio Network.